Hey, stop for just a second there before you open that job board again, because here's a question that I really want you to think about. What do you actually want right now? Not what the market wants from you, not what your former title used to be, and certainly not what LinkedIn is proposing to you in your feed. What do you want? Because I think for a lot of us, and I mean a lot, what we want more than anything after losing a long-term job, it's something that we don't talk enough about. We want stability, not the corner office, not the big title, getting it back, just stability, a schedule that we can count on, an income that we can plan around, a place where our experience is actually valued, and a place where we can start to rebuild ourselves into something new. In the last episode, we mapped out four different paths available to workers over 50 who are rebuilding after a job loss. And today, we're going to go deep into the first one, the first stop on that path: stability. And it's specifically remote and flexible work. Stay with me because this conversation, it's going to be honest, and the good, the real challenges, and exactly who this path is built for. But before we get started, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below so that you continue to get this weekly update on different tips and skills that those of us over 50 can certainly use. Let's get started. I want to talk about stability for a moment because I don't think we give enough credit to how profound that need is after a job loss. We're not talking about, you know, being boring or playing it safe. We're talking literally about survival, emotional survival. When you've given 20, 25, 30, or more years to a career, and it's taken from you overnight, the ground disappears underneath you. And what you desperately need, what you, frankly, your nervous system is actually craving for, it's not a promotion, it's a floor under your feet. And stability, real stability, it comes in four different forms. Let's walk through all four of those. First, there's stability of schedule. After months of uncertainty, erratic job searching, rejection after rejection, a predictable work day, knowing when your day starts, when it ends, what you're doing at 10 a.m. on next week, Tuesday, that's mentally healing. And it's a way that's hard to put into words once you've lost that. Second, there's stability of income. And here's the thing, I'm not talking about getting back to your old salary immediately on day one. I'm talking about consistent income, a paycheck that you can actually plan around. When your savings are draining and your confidence is shaken, that floor, it matters. It matters enormously. Third, there's the stability of simply being valued. One of the most brutal parts of ageism, and I know you felt this, is being made to feel obsolete. Like your experience is actually a problem instead of an asset. So returning to a role where your reliability, your judgment, your communication skills are genuinely appreciated, that is absolutely restorative. And that matters. And fourth, there's the stability of self-respect. Work is tied to identity. For a lot of us, it always has been, good or bad. and getting back to purposeful daily work, even if it's not your former title, even if it's different than something that you're used to, it begins to rebuild you on the outside from the job that you had previously held. And that's exactly why remote and flexible work leads to path one. Because it's not giving up, it's not settling. This is actually being strategic. You're choosing an environment where your experience works in your favor. It doesn't work against you. It's not a place where you walk into an office and you see that invisible wall going up all around you. You felt that, right? You work from your space on your terms, and you're effective that way. I'm working from my own space here every time, and I feel comfortable and effective here more than having to walk into some office somewhere. So let's look at 5 possible different remote roles that are genuinely worth considering. These are only examples. There are many, many more, but let's get started with these. Option 1 is remote customer service. Yeah, I know. I know what you're thinking. Some of you are looking at the screen right now saying, WTF, customer service. What are you talking about, John? Just hear me out for a moment before you turn the video off. You have decades of professional communication. You know how to de escalate a frustrated person. You know how to listen actively. And you also know how to represent a brand with actual professionalism. That's not a young person's skill set. That's that's experience, and companies, they know that. Companies like Apple, Amazon, major insurance companies, financial institutions, they actively recruit empathetic, mature voices in their higher tier customer roles. These are not call centers, not by any means. We're talking about healthcare support, um, banking, benefits administration, industries where getting it right matters, and a calm, experienced voice like yours on the other line is going to be the competitive advantage for that company. Option 2, remote project coordination. Here's the thing: if you've spent years managing teams, hitting deadlines, keeping cross departmental projects, from going off the rails, you already do this work. It's just a different title. So remote project coordinators, they keep deliverables on track. They manage communication across teams. They report upward. Sound familiar? I think you've done this, right? The tools, okay, it's things like Asana, Monday.com, Notion, Teams. They're all learnable. You can pick those up, whatever the company offers. But what's not learnable is judgment. You're not going to get that from a training module. And judgment is what's needed in a crisis, the ability to manage competing priorities without losing your composure. That's you. That's what you bring. And one more thing, this role is often a natural bridge to higher paying remote project management positions. It's not the ceiling, it's actually the door back into the room. Maybe a different room though. Option 3 are remote administrative roles. And okay, before you move past this one, I just want to reframe what an admin means in 2026. Okay. So, virtual assistant roles supporting C suite executives, small business owners, high growth entrepreneurs, these can pay $25 to $45 an hour. This is not the administrative work of 1995. These clients, they want someone who is organized, who's proactive, who's discreet, and frankly, who's basically able to anticipate needs before they're even being asked. They don't want someone who needs constant supervision. They want someone who communicates clearly and professionally. And there's an irony alert here. The very things that make hiring managers nervous about experienced workers, like being set in your ways and having expectations, well, those are actually the exact qualities that small business owners and entrepreneurs are desperately searching for in a virtual assistant. They need someone who can hold their own. Many of these roles also offer flexible part-time structures. So, which is ideal if you're transitioning, gradually, or you're balancing some other responsibilities or activities in your schedule. Option 4 are remote sales or account management. Now, I want to draw an important line here. There is a big difference between new business development, like cold calling, prospecting, or hunting, and account management, account retention, relationship stewardship. If you have a background in B2B relationships, client services or account retention, remote sales roles, they can translate directly into those skills. And the compensation structures in these roles, a base plus a commission, it can be genuinely strong if you're performing. So here's why this works for workers over 50. Clients want to talk to someone who understands their business, their pressures, their goals, someone who isn't reading from a script, a teleprompter script, someone who listens first and solves the problem second. Then there's option 5, remote tech support. And I know again, some of you are already shaking your head and saying, I'm not technical enough for that kind of a role. I get it. Okay. But just stay with me for 30 more seconds. Hear me out before you skip the rest. Tier 1 remote tech support does not require coding. It doesn't require a computer science degree. What it does require is patience, systematic thinking, the ability to explain something complex in language to someone who's frustrated. You've been doing that your entire career, right? Many of the best companies in this space, they provide full training. And the roles themselves, particularly in industries that you might already understand, healthcare, IT, insurance platforms, financial roles, they give you a structured shift, often full benefits and a real advancement plan. This is not a dead end. And for the right person, this could actually be a launch pad. Okay, we've looked at these 5 different options. Now, what I want to do is have a really honest conversation with you, because that's what we're here to do, to talk honestly. Remote work, it's not without its challenges. And going with clear eyes into the situation, you see exactly how you set yourself up to succeed rather than quitting after 1 month. The first one is real, and I don't want to minimize it. It's isolation and loneliness. So for workers who thrived on team energy, on the casual conversations, the collaborative buzz, the human camaraderie in the workplace, remote work, it can be genuinely difficult. There's no water cooler, there are no spontaneous lunches, no one is popping their head into your office. And for people who are already navigating the social losses that come with job loss itself, that can be pretty heavy. Build a plan for human connection before you start something like this. Don't do it afterwards. Second, there are potential unstable or off hour schedules. So customer service and tech support roles in particular, they often cover weekend, evening, or rotating shifts, especially when you're serving customers across time zones. Know what you're agreeing to before you sign an offer. Read the shift requirements really carefully and decide whether something like that is manageable for your own personal situation. Third, the work life boundary blur. When your office is your dining room table, it's really hard to truly clock out. The laptop, it's always there. Mine's right down here in front of me. The notifications don't stop, and without intentional structure, a real start time, real end time, and perhaps even some physical separation of the workspace in your home, the work can actually colonize increasingly in your life. Fourth, there's potential for family and household friction. Look, spouses, adult children, grandchildren, even potentially, the people that love you will always assume that because you're home, you're available. Lunch breaks, they become chore time. Work calls, they get interrupted. Setting clear boundaries, it's a skill. It's something you have to work on, and you have to develop it, and you have to defend it gently but consistently. And fifth, the tech learning curve. There are video platforms, collaboration tools, ticketing systems, CRM systems. The onboarding, it can feel overwhelming, and there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that honestly to yourself, but also to your employer. Be honest. Being proactive about training, asking good questions, and giving yourself grace during the learning period. It's not a weakness, it's actually wisdom. None of these are deal breakers. Every one of them is manageable, but I'd rather you walk in prepared than walk out feeling defeated prematurely. Now let's talk about why, for workers over 50, specifically, um, remote and flexible work is actually one of the strategic choices that you can make right now. No commute, um, time, money, physical energy, they're all reclaimed. You know, at 55, a 90-minute round trip commute, it's no longer just inconvenient. It's a real quality of life cost, and getting that back, it matters. And frankly, just think about those fuel costs right now. You wouldn't have to fuel your car once or twice a week. Then there are no office politics to navigate. We said it at the top. This path is for those who want stability but without the politics. Also, remote work, it largely eliminates the casual age bias, the exclusion from the social circles, the performative visibility games people go through, and that constant sense of having to prove that you belong. You know, you log on, you do excellent work, and frankly, the work speaks for itself. There's also freedom to accommodate your own needs. Things like medical appointments, health considerations, simple mobility, personal energy rhythms. You know, remote work, it lets you structure your environment in ways that you can plan, and in ways that you probably could never do it at an employer's facility. And how about geographic liberation? You're no longer limited to jobs that are within driving distance just from your zip code. No, you have 30 years of experience or more, plus or minus, and you can apply that nationally. Your strongest asset, your judgment, it travels anywhere, especially when you're on a headset in front of a laptop. And perhaps, and most importantly, this all rebuilds confidence on your own terms. Returning to productive, purposeful work in your own space without the judgment of a new office environment, that can be a real stabilizing force that gives you breathing room to decide what truly comes next. It's not from desperation, but from a position of strength that you've put yourself into. Before we close, I want to give you something specific to do, a homework assignment. It's not update your resume. It's not to just think about it. This week, do one search. One search. Go to LinkedIn, search for remote, and then add your strongest role type: remote customer service, remote project manager, remote administrative assistant, remote account manager. Then filter those again with the remote setting, and filter those results also with less than 10 applicants. See what's actually out there right now, not what you fear it might be out there, but what's actually truly really out there. You might actually be surprised. Okay, we've covered the first stop on path 1: stability, remote and flexible work. In our next episode, we're going to continue on the path of stability, and we're going to look into another option for those of you who want a paycheck that you can count on without the overhead of having to start something from scratch. So make sure, again, that you subscribe, push the button down below, because that episode is coming soon and you're not going to want to miss it. And right now, if drop a comment down below. Which of these 5 different remote options feels like something that would be a fit for you? You know, where are you right now? And which one feels the most daunting? Or you're not interested in any of them. I do read and I do respond to every single comment I get. Let's talk about it, because you've been through enough, and the path forward it's real, very real. It's not easy. It's definitely real. Youth runs fast, but age knows the terrain. See you next time.